And here is the Artist's Almanac for February 2nd, 2018. It's the birthday of legendary Swedish tenor Jussi Bjorling, born in Dalarna, Sweden in 1911. Jussi's father David was an accomplished vocalist and taught Jussi and his two brothers, Ole and Gusta, who also went on to become professional singers. Jussi made his debut public appearance at 5 years of age, alongside his brothers and father, performing with the Bjorling Male Quartet, which toured throughout Sweden and the United States for 11 and a half years. Bjorling made his operatic debut at the age of 19, singing the Tertiary Lamplighter in the Royal Swedish Opera's production of Manon Lescaut, and by the age of 26 had made both his Carnegie Hall and Metropolitan Opera debuts. Bjorling would go on to become the most celebrated tenor of his day, and was often referred to as the Swedish Caruso. Bjorling's recordings are benchmarks of artistry and very often still the standard by which all others are judged. His Trovatore, Aida and Tosca with Zinka Milanov, Lescaut with Albanese, Butterfly and Bohème with De Los Angeles, all classics of recorded opera. Most famously, however, is his recording of the Pearl Fishers duet with the great Robert Merrill. Bjorling was a notorious and often belligerent drunk, and arrived 2 hours late for the recording session, drunk and refusing to record. Merrill, who was accustomed to fetching Bjorling from the bars around town at the behest of Bjorling's wife, walked his friend around the block, convincing Bjorling that the session was a rehearsal, and coaxed him into the room, where the RCA Victor Orchestra and conductor Renato Cellini were waiting. The resulting recording is still widely recognized as the gold standard, some 60 years later. By all accounts, Bjorling was a loving family man when sober, but the years of alcoholism took their toll, and on the 15th of March of 1960, Bjorling suffered a heart attack backstage during a performance of La Bohème at Covent Garden, and after a 30-minute rest, went on to perform. Bjorling's weakened heart got the best of him, and 6 months later died in Sweden. He was 49 years old. It's also the birthday of writer James Joyce, born in Dublin, Ireland in 1882. Joyce was born the same year as Virginia Woolf, and along with Woolf is considered a pioneer in modernist stream-of-consciousness narrative style. Some go so far as to accuse Woolf of stylistic plagiarism, as she and her husband owned a publishing company to which Joyce had submitted his manuscript of Ulysses, a project Woolf ultimately passed on. Woolf took a break from writing Mrs. Dalloway to jot this entry in her journal. "Oh, what a bore about Joyce, just as I was devoting myself to Proust. Now I must put aside Proust, and what I suspect is that Joyce is one of those undelivered geniuses whom one can't neglect or silence their groans, but must help them out, at considerable pains to one's self." Joyce and Proust once spent a disastrous dinner together in 1922, the year Ulysses was published. The two writers spent the meal discussing their ailments, before eventually admitting that they hadn't read each other's work. Also present at this historic and awkward dinner party were Picasso and Stravinsky. Proust died 6 months later, of unrelated circumstances. James Joyce contributed to the modernist avant-garde movement and is regarded as one of the most influential and important authors of the 20th century. Although Joyce is best known for his landmark work Ulysses, his novel A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, and his collection of short stories entitled Dubliners are considered masterpieces in their own right. James Joyce died after surgery for a perforated ulcer in 1941 at the age of 59. Here's a quote from Ulysses, and a bit of good advice. "Think you're escaping and run into yourself. Longest way around is the shortest way home." Thanks for listening. Be kind, do good work, and until next time.